The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Oh, sad time to end the week, but we close it with a song. And joining me again from the Windy City Double Feature Picture Show and Halloweenies and the Rock Island Public House, it's Mike Vanderbilt.
Hello.
Today's music video is for The Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks. Yeah, I'm going country. Haven't done a country music video yet, but here we are. I'm not going to be biased, even though I'm notably not the world's biggest country music fan.
But it's interesting to note about this one, because I don't want to say this is barely country, but this is definitely, I mean, it's a country song, but it's from Garth Brooks, who notably was always trying to break into the pop music world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he always had the heart of a rock star, I guess.
Yeah, he always had to drive. One hell of a performer. He is one of these guys who, when I was younger, I totally wrote him off, even though my mom did go through a country music phase from like December of 1990 to about February of 1992. Mm-hmm. And I often attribute that to, I once saw a record producer on later with Bob Costas who mentioned, if country music is on the pop charts, that means pop music is in trouble. And for someone my mom's age back then, I could see her going to country because Madonna got weird and got, too sexy. I mean, she was always sexy, but when she started getting into the erotica stuff,
right?
Like that wasn't, my mom wanted that, the pop music of Like a Virgin, and we had grunge taking over rock radio, and we had, gangster rap was coming into its own. So I could see why a lot of people her age who liked pop music were turning to country. And I think Garth Brooks is obviously one of the superstars of that era. And I think it's because he never wanted country music to confine him.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, he's definitely one that you could definitely see as a gateway drug for people to get across.
And there's people who don't like country music, but love Garth Brooks.
Or at least have a respect for him. That's one thing. The song Thunder Rolls is the final single from his 1990 album No Fences, which also featured Friends in Low Places, Unanswered Prayers, and Two of a Kind, Working on a Full House. It sold over 18 million copies and is his best-selling album to date, which I don't think he's selling 18 million of anything. I don't think, unless you're Taylor or Lady Gaga, you're not selling that.
People are still buying his records, though. But you know what? Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things about Garth Brooks is, and this is, so I loved that in the 90s, he was totally not letting country confine him because he was playing around with, he did Hard Luck Woman with Kiss on Jay Leno, and they did it for that Kiss My Ass tribute record. And I think in a very Gene Simmons move, one of my favorite things Garth Brooks ever did was, he wanted to sell more records than the Beatles. Mm-hmm. So what he did was he took all of his albums that had previously been released, put them in a box set with a bonus disc, and sold it for $50. So if you bought it, you were getting a deal because you were basically getting the records for, let's say, $8 a piece or something.
Yeah.
But each sale of that box set
was a sale for that.
Counted as a sale for the records. So he knew, because the Garth Brooks fans are hardcore, he knew that they would also buy it for the bonus disc. And he succeeded. I believe he ended up selling, he has some sort of record that he sold more. In one of the charts, he sold more records than the Beatles.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. And whenever I think of it, I said, "Oh, he must have been talking to Gene Simmons." That one, because that seems like such a Gene Simmons move.
Yeah, definitely, he's ahead of the game with a lot of things. And he wrote this song with Pat Alger. So
yeah,
it was originally recorded by Tanya Tucker, but she dropped it from her album that was intended, and it had
the Tucker version. The Tanya Tucker version has a very it's very nice. It was for an album from '88, and the production is very 1988.
Right,
very heavy on the synthesizers, very Muzak influenced.
Yeah, but luckily when the rights came back, he got it on his sophomore album for himself.
Well,
so.
The story that I read was that the producer was mad or disappointed that he gave it to Tanya Tucker and said, "This is the best song you ever wrote, Garth," and then brought it back. But here's my favorite story I found was in a 1991 Entertainment Weekly article where they talked to Alger, and he goes, "There's a line about Rolling Thunder in one of his other songs, and Garth had been listening to that song." Mm-hmm. So Garth was listening with Alan Reynolds, and I get this picture like Garth running into the room or wherever Alger is sitting, and just out of breath, like, "Hold on." What if we write a song about somebody who's cheating on his wife, and every time they do it, the thunder rolls? Because Alger said he thought it was kind of funny. He thought it was a joke. But then the two of them sat down to write it. And, I mean, look, this thing was a monster of a fucking hit.
Oh, yeah.
1991.
You just played out my story that I like with the writer's room at Warner Brothers DC office during Batman v Superman, trying to find a connection, and the guy goes in, he goes, "Hold on, you know what Superman's mom's name is, right? Did you know Batman's mom's name?" That whole thing. But yes, the big breakthrough day. But yeah, the thunder rolls, and the thunder. What if we had thunder in it?
And then it's like after it was all done, because they recorded it live, like in one take.
Yeah,
Garth Brooks and Alger, the songwriter, Pat Alger. And then they're like, what if we put thunder on the track?
Just a whole... Yeah.
No, not a guitar that sounds like thunder. Like an actual recording of thunder.
Like Riders on the Storm? Yeah, like Riders on the Storm.
Just like Riders on the Storm.
Just like Riders on the Storm. Oh, yeah. Which the music video, which does include thunder on it as well.
Thunder, rain, lightning.
It premiered on May 4th, 1991. A lot of music videos I do on the show do not... you can't find the day they actually premiered, but God damn it, this one had it.
Well, you said this was, you mentioned it was the last single. It's the fourth single off this record, and this record was huge. Like Garth Brooks was basically unstoppable at this point.
Right, yeah. He was just... And then, like, years later, he'd have his greatest hits, which was one of those best greatest hits albums of all time.
It's right next to the Eagles.
The Eagles, I think Lenny Kravitz, one of his best albums was his greatest hits.
I think Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' greatest hits album, if only for the inclusion of Last Dance with Mary Jane. Like, there's albums like even if you don't have anything else by that band, you probably have that hits collection in your record collection.
And I always talk the hits collection when you have like the ego and stuff to put that new song on there. It's like you're already claiming it's a hit. Like, what if it sucks? When I always point to when Van Halen did it and they recorded like two new tracks with Roth and they both fucking blew.
Yeah, they were no good. And everybody thought that was going to be the reunion. And then I think they accepted they accepted the award on the MTV or the Grammys, and you could see that this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, Eddie's like, I have to have back surgery next month, and David Lee Roth's like, the hell? What? Oh yeah, and it was over. And we got Gary Cherone era Van Halen. I bought it.
Look, not a bad, not the worst record.
No,
I'd say it's probably still a better record than "Cut the Crap" by The Clash.
Oh gosh, The Thunder Rolls, directed by Bud Schatzel. He did a lot of music video related TV specials, not really just music video stuff, but like he did specials for Reba McEntire, Kathy Lee Gifford,
he really seemed to,
Wyclef and Dolly. Like
I thought he really kind of hung out in the both him and the producer, who we'll talk about, Martin J. Fisher. They both really kind of hung out within the country music industry.
Mm-hmm. But he wrote the Peter Fonda, Reb Brown action spectacle Mercenary Fighters.
Have you seen this one? Do I need to check this one out?
I saw the poster and I want to check it out now.
Now put it on the list. That'll be our next episode.
Well, after Transformers?
After Transformers.
All right. But the video features a man played by Garth Brooks in a wig, glasses, and is it a painted on beard?
I don't know, but here's what I like about this, because this is 10 years before my favorite era of Garth Brooks.
Chris Gaines.
Oh,
yeah.
So you could see that he was, as somebody who always wanted to break out of the country thing, wanted to be a pop star, idolized people like Prince and David Bowie, that he wanted to bring in different characters and different images. I feel like this is maybe where perhaps where the seed was planted, because he's almost unrecognizable in the video.
Yeah. I think it was, I think it was now when I went to watch it for this, I was like, Oh, Garth plays that guy. I remembered it being a bearded guy in it.
I always got this video and Janie's Got a Gun confused.
They're sister videos.
I feel like they take place in the same abusive scumbag universe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's like the thematic sequel to Janie's Got a Gun, where he's this cheating husband, or as they like to say, I'm a family man, but he's sleeping with some floozy in a motel room. And
one of those motel rooms from Bobby Joe and the Outlaw with the real great neon.
Yes, it was perfect. Like this it unintentionally fit that movie perfectly. And he drives home during a storm. His wife is at home, and she's got a black eye and a beat-up lip, so I guess he is a family man. And there's a little daughter there watching, and when he gets home, she shoots him, lights some candles, and then holds them as the police come. And outside, Garth Brooks walks by without, he's Garth Brooks. And
he's Garth now.
He walks by, looks at the camera like, ain't that a shame, folks? And it's like, next week on Rescue 911.
That's all. That's all, folks.
Yeah, pretty much. And the band plays soaking wet in the rain through this, as they jam hard, and one of the like rhythm guitar guys like sings along like he's on there. Yeah, that's kind of how the video is. This is a weird one, Mike, because I remember exactly the moment I saw this video for the first time. So,
tell me about it.
So we were on our way. My family and I were on our way to Alabama to visit like one of my mom's best friends that moved there and stay with them for a week. And our minivan broke down on the way there. It was somewhere north Alabama or on the way, and we had to get it fixed. And we went to this auto place, and it was the air conditioning busted, I think. That was it. When it was so hot you couldn't just drive with the windows down. And so we were in the lobby, and they had like CMT or not TNN, because it's got banned on TNN.
And I don't think CMT wanted to play it either. Is that true?
Well, yeah, I'm not. I saw TNN didn't want to, but
I think I might have gotten my CMT and my TNN confused, because VH1 actually started playing it eventually.
Right? Yeah. So I watched it, and I saw more country videos than I wanted to care for that day. But it was weird because I never watched that channel, so I was like peering into another universe.
It's another world. It's a completely different world. Absolutely.
But this music video, like, I was like, wow, that was really well done, and that was kind of a cool song too. Like, what is this? And then like we went down, and this was the early mid 90s, and it was like Garth Brooks. Like, people love Garth Brooks. Like, he was an icon. Well, rightfully like one of the probably the biggest icons of country music. And so I heard plenty. It was like a precursor to that trip, because we would get to Alabama, and that would be like Garth Brooks music was playing everywhere. But yeah, seeing that video, I remember that. I don't know why. There's better music videos I love in my life. I can't tell you when I saw them the first time. But this video, I think it was part of that peering in another world, and this is the one that I was like, oh, this one I like.
This was a thing. Like, this was huge. This may have been the first time I actually sat down and watched a video, even as someone who seems to be a little bit more than a passing interest, or even if it's not an interest so much as curiosity about Garth Brooks and his career. But I just remember this being huge, and it's kind of weird because it is kind of the anti-country song, and like there's kind of a stereotype about country music that it's all about beating up your wife and stuff like that, and this was against that. And even though TNN banned it, like, it got a lot of press because women's groups were very much behind this, and Garth Brooks shedding light on this issue.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were afraid of it. Like, I think the director said, he told in that same Entertainment Weekly article that people were afraid. They didn't feel like that Garth Brooks was trying to break out of his typical songwriting.
Right.
Because you know how the country music scene is.
Yeah. This feels at home with like a country song. Like, maybe not country, but
I bet you're looking back on it from, 20 years.
Yeah, but
this is a little too edgy for them.
Would it be too edgy for like the folk guys, or like the Willie Nelsons and the Waylon Jennings though? Like,
they weren't playing them on they probably were playing them on the Nashville network. Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting period. I don't know enough about this period of country music. I know a little bit about it because it was certainly gaining popularity, and a lot of it due to Garth Brooks, because he was the superstar.
It's funny. Like, you brought up the popularity of, like, is it maybe at like the turn of every decade? Because like at the turn of the 80s, pop country had a big resurgence with like rhinestone bars, and this is turning into the 90s.
Just like the 70s when, because like Bobby Joe and the Outlaw, I mean, not that the Eagles are not true country music, but they have that country influence. Like Bobby Joe.
Southern influence in 70s rock. Yeah, definitely.
Bobby Joe and the Outlaw was based off of Desperado. Like that was where Mark Lester was inspired.
It was almost called Desperado, yeah.
So, and now right now in our current moment, pop country music is what college kids listen to.
Right.
And it's because I don't know what. I can't put a finger on it because, of course, these days kids, they don't just listen to country. If they listen to country, they probably listen to rap, and they probably listen to the true to form pop music too. It's the iPod generation, the Spotify generation, where you can just make your own playlist. You don't have to buy the whole record. It's not. I mean, we've all heard the stereotypical answer. I like everything except rap and country. Like that's just not how it is anymore.
Which is funny. Like when I noticed it when I worked at Circuit City in college, and I worked in the DVDs and the music section. But I noticed like if there's two groups that hate each other, it's rap and country, but they are so similar. It's crazy.
Well, that's why, and I love it whenever the country guys bring in the rapper, the rappers bring in the country. Like who's that? Florida Georgia Line has a rap breakdown in all of their songs.
Yeah, and it's funny, like their album covers look alike because rock always goes for this like artistic, like, well, give me a painting, and then like rap and country is like, here's the guy who's going to be singing the songs.
Here he is leaning on here he is kneeling on a road, except one of them's a dirt road and one of them's a city road. Absolutely.
There's a guy leaning against a wall, and it's like living on edge life or something like that. It's
it's all about partying and a good time.
Right.
Like when I tended bar at Chili's, if I had like a night where there was a run on Blue Moon, like everybody's ordering Blue Moon in this place, I would say to myself, did somebody mention Blue Moon in a rap or country song? Because everybody's coming in ordering this.
Right.
And it's very populist music too. Mm-hmm. Especially now more than ever, probably.
Yeah, they're both country. They're both genres that are very blunt in their lyrics, more so than. I mean, nowadays, like with just like, hey, let's just say stuff. But yeah, so two kinds of music that I find very similar in what their pitches they're selling and where people think they're kind of different in the pop sensibilities of them. I'm sure there's deeper country artists buried somewhere.
Oh yeah, and there's deeper everything. Like this is just what's on the radio now, and I think there's a certain. I don't need to shit on people for liking pop country music or bro country, whatever.
Right.
Let them have it. It's just not my thing. Like I'm lucky at Rock Island Public House. We don't have a Touch Tunes. We have a CD jukebox because we curate the music that we want to hear.
There you go. As you should. It's your place. For the people. This one, it won the CMA Video of the Year. It was nominated for a Grammy for Best Music Video. It was called Best Music Video Short Form at that time. It was among nominees Dire Straits' Calling Elvis, Bob Dylan's Series of Dreams, Billy Joel's When You Wish Upon a Star, and lost to REM's Losing My Religion.
Oh, I was going to ask you. I wonder what it lost to. Yeah, Losing My Religion was huge.
That was big. It's funny, like, REM was, like, humongous, and then just within, like, an album fell off the face of the earth.
And they've been around, they've been around for so long before that, too, but they hit that sweet spot when grunge became popular.
I mean, yeah, they were around in the 80s for a while, yeah.
It's like if the Replacements had hung out, they would have definitely had their runs, Paul Westerberg solo stuff, because finally the music that these bands have been doing, this college rock, kind of gloomy, kind of rocking, kind of sad with a little bit of edge, was in the zeitgeist in 91 with the grunge movement happening.
Never did though. The Pixies never.
They never hit that. They never got the pop, but they got more popular.
They became the ultimate hipster alternative grunge band from back,
and now they're everybody's favorite oldies act.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's funny because it's like at the beginning of this month, I think maybe we were talking about Spin Doctors, and they were like their album with Little Miss Can't Be Wrong and Two Princes sold like you wouldn't believe how many copies, and then like they were never heard from again. Like, it's insane.
As they say, it's a common story, one-hit wonders.
Although, even though back then you got a lot more chance to develop than you did now.
Indeed.
I mean, they may have fallen off the face of the earth, but someone still gave them like 3 more albums.
Well, I'm listening, or rather reading a great book, listening to it. They just seem a little bit weird, and it's guys like Doug Broad who's talking about Kiss, Aerosmith, Stars, and Cheap Trick. And reading back on old, like, that 70s rock, like, yeah, interesting to have an A&R guy who, like, okay, this band is your project. You're here to sell them to America. And they would try different things. They would try different looks. They would try different sounds, different producers. And I don't know if that's so much a thing anymore.
Yeah. No, that's, like, what can you get right away? That's,
yeah.
Chelsea Christer, the guest on this show, she directed a documentary called Bleeding Audio, and it's about a band called The Matches, and they were like emo punk. That
I remember them.
Yeah. They go over their record deals, and there was one of the record companies came in like, "What are you looking for?" And the one guy said, "Don't sign with us because all we're gonna do is try to get one hit out of you and move on." Like, that's honestly. So if you want to try to have some longevity. He's like, we'll make you you'll have a hit you'll be making money for the rest of your life on, but that's all we're looking to get from you. So if you're looking to have some sort of integrity or something like that, we're the wrong label for you. And it's like, well, there's honesty, but
that's some fucking honesty for you. Yeah,
but that was one of the sections.
Honesty in the music industry. Never thought I'd see it. Never thought I'd hear it.
Yeah. So, but that's, I mean, they were, at the time they were getting courted around. They ended up going with Epitaph, which seems fit.
Of course they did. That just is appropriate.
But they always, they always,
I knew it before you even said it. I go, I bet you they ended up on Epitaph.
They were on Epitaph, and they always got so close, and they quit Still Hungry. That was, well, they're back. I mean, they play reunion shows nowadays, but it's just one of the most interesting music docs to me I've ever seen. So it made my top 10 films of last year, and it she won an award at Slam Dance for it.
That's awesome. I love, even if I don't like a band, I will probably be on the edge of my seat through the whole music doc. I'm a sucker for them.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like, it was weird because I got that. I got this. I couldn't find someone to write a review for it, and I really liked the PR person. And I was like, I'll sit and do this, and then I was hooked. It was like, well, you know what? And it wound up being one of my favorite films of last year, and I just totally, like, the people who worked on it, stuff all great, but yeah, it was really interesting. That catches you by surprise, that type of thing. But so yeah, Garth Brooks. We've done country here now, so no one can argue about me. Did Thunder Rolls. If you are a country music fan and there are like worthwhile music videos that you want to see me, let me know. I will cover them. We should do. I think it was Lost in You, the single off of there's a couple singles off that Chris Gaines record. Of course, I don't know if that counts as. I don't know if that counts as country, but I always argue that if Chris Gaines will happen. I have to introduce Garth, and then we'll go to Chris Gaines.
I don't know. I always say, like, if Garth Brooks wanted to record that Chris Gaines record today, he wouldn't even have to do it under an alias, because it's pretty similar to what country music sounds like today.
Well, like Taylor Swift was country. She was country. Now she's pop. And then like Sheryl Crow went from just rock to country.
A lot of the old rock stars, like who is it? Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Mm-hmm. He turned to country because the audience who's listening to country music now is the same audience that liked Aerosmith and Kiss and hair metal, and a lot of the
Darius Rucker had country career.
Yeah, a lot of the country singers have the same haircuts that the Poison guys had in the 90s. So
yeah, it's hard to discern. So, all right, well, that'll wrap us up this week. Mike, you rule, my man.
Oh, thank you for having me on. I always appreciate coming on.
Happy to share time with you on this show. Next time's not soon enough, but until then, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mike Vanderbilt. You can find me on Instagram at MA Vanderbilt. And of course, you can always find me at the Halloweenies podcast or at the Windy City Double Feature podcast. And if you're in the Chicagoland area, please stop by the Rock Island Public House on Sundays, Tuesdays, or Saturday nights. I'll be behind a stick every one of those. I'm happy to do a shot of Malort with you.
What is the Malort, by the way?
Oh, man, you ain't ready for it yet.
I'm not ready for it. Okay, well.
I'll tell you what, you put this up, your listeners are going to tell. I'll let your listeners describe what Malort is, because I would like to see how they describe it to you.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. I'll probably never be ready for it. So, all right. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD, written work at WhiteStoneBlue.com. The show returns next week, but until then, always remember, when talking movies online, keep it like Mike Vanderbilt.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.